Okay, there we go. Hey guys, how's everybody doing out there? Welcome to Facebook Live. Another episode of Black Spinner Circle with Rock Chat. And my guest today is Rob Rowe from the Rock and Roll Podcast. And my good friend and brother Jeremy Marcantel out of Louisiana.
Hello.
And also Kate Dore. Hello, Kate, from International House of Vinyl. So today we are going to be doing a special today. Today we're going to be comparing and contrasting albums between, it's going to be called Vinyl Battles between the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. We're going to finally answer the age-old question, who's a better band, the Beatles or the Rolling Stones? And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to get the world's official answer of who is better. All right, so the way that we're going to be doing this is that we're going to go from album to album according to the years that they were released, like 63, 64, and pretty much if you look at their careers before the Beatles split up, these albums were almost released by in the same year. So we'll get a pretty good grasp of the competition that was going on. And don't let the media fool you, because it was a very a very friendly competition between these two bands. Mm-hmm. You know, the Rolling Stones' first hit was "I Want to Be Your Man," which was written by Lennon McCartney. Their manager Andrew Oldham ran into Paul and John and asked them for help because they couldn't come up with anything. And also. And also on the album on Her Magical there's a song by the Rolling Stones called "We Love You," and it was from '67 during the Sgt. Pepper's era, and John and Paul do the backing vocals on that song as well. So you know there was a friendly competition, even though one did want to be better than the other. So maybe that's why there's this talk. So let's get started with their debut albums. The Beatles came out first with 1963's Please Please Me. And they're going to be going up against New England's newest hit makers, which was Rolling Stone's debut album. So Rob, which one would you pick between these two? You know, there were a lot of covers on each of them. One band's albums was all covers from a beginning to end. Are you on mute?
Sorry about that. I'm going with the Beatles. Please, please me. You know, I love that album. I mean, both albums are great. But that one just always resonates with me. So, you know, and I love the song Love Me Do as a kid, you know, and still to this day, I can't let that one go. So, yeah, I'm just going to go and say the Beatles, please, please me.
Yeah, on the Love Me Do, man, that bass line by Paul, just fantastic. It just gallops. And, you know, every time you hear different songs, you listen to different things. And, man, that bass line really does pop out for me. Hey, Jeremy, which one would you pick between these two?
Oh, yeah, the Beatles album, of course.
All right. Kate, need I ask?
I think we all agree.
All right. So
hard to beat in my book, definitely. Even if it's 6 covers and the other originals, I still think that one's got it.
Yeah, you know, on this Rolling Stones album, I mean the songs that stick out are covers like Rock 66 and Not Fade Away, Carol, Walking the Dog. I mean, they're all covers. And of course, the Beatles here, they got a couple of covers, but the covers are done so much better. I mean, they pretty much make Twist and Shout their own. And then their originals with Please Please Me and Love Me Do, I Saw Her Standing There, Do You Want to Know a Secret? I mean, all these were fabrics in rock radio or pop radio, whatever radio was called back then. Now it's called nothing. But yep. So y'all voted for this one. So round 1 goes to Please Please Me. Round 2. We're gonna go with Beatles, With the Beatles, or 12 by 5 by the Rolling Stones. Rob?
I gotta go with the Beatles.
The Beatles on this one.
Great album. 12 by 5 is a great album, but nah, I gotta stick with the Beatles, man. So yeah, that's my pick.
All right. Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, again, the Beatles record, but wasn't 12 by 5 considered the Rolling Stones like real breakout record?
This was their breakout record. The problem with this one again was 1, 2. They only had 3 originals on here.
Yeah.
And but the 3 originals on here were time. Oh, well, this was not a original. This was the cover, but Time is on My Side.
Right.
Is on here. That's pretty much, they make that song their own. They really did. And Good Times and Bad Times, that was an original. When I first heard this album, I thought it was going to be the Led Zeppelin Good Times, Bad Times, and I was wrong. I was all like, no, that's not right. No, that's not right. And then Congratulations and Grown Up Wrong were also originals. But this also ends with a really good cover of Susie Q.
Yes. Yeah. But no, it's
huh? What?
I was going to say it's still not as good as still not as good as the Beatles record.
Yeah, the Beatles record. This it won't be long. All I've got to do, All My Lovin', Don't Bother Me, and that's just side 1.
Right.
It's it's a rocking album. Kate.
So it's both lots of covers on either one, and I still am sticking with the Beatles, but I have to agree on that. Time is on My Side that they did is awesome.
Yeah.
Make it their own kind of thing. You know how that is. So.
Oh yeah. I was very surprised to find out that it was a cover.
Mm-hmm. And that Good Times, Bad Times, Zeppelin wouldn't have come out for quite a while.
Yeah. So we're going with the Beatles. Now, if I was voting, believe it or not, I would have gone with 12 by 5 on this one. But that's just me. I'm not voting. I'm just the host.
You're holding them up.
Yeah, I'm just holding up. Y'all don't want to hear from me.
He's just our Vanna White for this episode.
And 1964, we roll on. Now, I don't have the Rolling Stones now. I don't have that album, so I'm going to replace it with something else. We're still voting on now, but, just as a prop, I'm going to use something else. But it's going to go up against A Hard Day's Night. And I'm going to use this as a prop. It's not the proper album, but it's just a prop, just in case I have to put it up there. But it's going to be the Rolling Stones now against A Hard Day's Night, which was the Beatles' first movie. And it's a good movie. I like it. Rob, what you got going on?
Well, this one's no contest because this has like a lot of my favorite songs, not all, but If I Fell, I think I just gave it away.
Yeah.
Hard Day's Night. Can't Buy Me Love. I mean, come on, gotta go with Hard Day's Night. That one, I think it was like one of those first Beatle records I actually listened to, and I was just like, oh man, this is so good. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, okay, I want to listen to more. And this is no disrespect to the Rolling Stones. It's not, because I like Rolling Stones a lot, but it's kind of hard to match up with the Beatles on a lot of things.
It is.
And so, yeah, I'm going to go with that, Hard Day's Night.
And this is their first album that is all original tracks by the Beatles from top to bottom. Jeremy?
Yeah, we're starting to get into the my personal favorite era of the Beatles. So, of course, it's Hard Day's Night.
Hard Day's Night.
Of course.
Kate?
Same. I was looking at all the songs. The way I'm trying to decide these is like look at the track listing.
Right.
And how many songs pop in your head that like you read the title and the lyrics are there? So on the Stones, it's just I can't think of a single one offhand, and then you have Hard Day's Night, and it's like every single song, you know, every single word. So got to
Yeah.
stick with the Beatles as well.
Yeah, that's what I would have picked too. This is actually one of my personal favorites from the early era. You know, when you listen to Beatles, you really have to, or like when you rank or talk about their albums, you really need to cut them up in different eras because they're different
It is,
throughout their
yeah.
career. They're different. Wow, it looks like a like like 3-0.
And that's
right
kicking.
now, huh?
Are we
Like
going to see a
3-0.
sweep? Are we
So
going to see a
next
sweep
up,
tonight?
huh?
Are we going to see a sweep tonight?
I don't know. Next up, we're still in 1964. The Beatles with the Hard Days with Beatles for Sale against the Rolling Stones with Out of Our Heads. Remember, Out of Our Heads is where Satisfaction comes in. Satisfaction, The Last Time, another original. Also, One More Try and The Spider and the Fly, which is a really interesting song. Kind of goes nowhere after a while. Against Beatles for Sale, you know, their weakest track I think on this album was 8 Days a Week, but it's got no reply. One of my favorite tracks, I'm a Loser, Babies in Black, I Don't Want to Spoil the Party, I'll Follow the Sun. I mean, it's hard to, you know, you try not to be, oh, Beatles, 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 but then when you look at the facts, or look at the songs, and do a comparison, it's tough. So, Rob.
I love Beatles for Sale, but I'm going with the Rolling Stones on this one. I really love this album. I really do. So
Yeah.
I got to give them one. And as much as I love that Beatles album, and trust me, I do. I love this album too because this is another one, you know, that I grew up on as well. And I just love the feel of it. And, you know, I just want to make love to you, you know, great song. And, you know, got to go with it. There you go. They'll get that one at least for me.
Jeremy.
Yeah, so I mean, even this being the best Stones album up to this point, it's as a whole, it doesn't touch For Sale. I mean, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
Even with Satisfaction.
Yeah. Yeah, even with Satisfaction going up against like 6 or 7 songs and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. I understand. Kate.
I was trying to decide because I feel like if you discount 8 Days a Week, which is probably the most popular song on that one for Beatles, Satisfaction's such a huge hit for Stones. So that one for me is a tough call because between albums, like I obviously like the Beatles better, but trying to decide between that being their most popular song on each album and which one's more prolific, probably the Stones.
Yeah, with Satisfaction, I mean,
yeah,
broke them worldwide.
Yeah. Much. So if we're going by popularity between the two hits between each album, I'd have to say Stones is probably more popular on that one.
All right.
Out of their catalogs, I guess I'd have to say.
All right. No, wait. I was so used to putting Beatles up there. Ooh, I knew that was going to happen with Dawes.
Yeah, for the Stone fans that are watching, you got one, so don't give us too much shit.
You got one. So, hey, who knows? They might be creeping up.
You never know. That's the question.
The Beatles with Help. This is 65 against December's Children by the Rolling Stones. Now, I probably read Stone songs since all of us know everything on Beatle albums. So on this Stones album, it's got As Tears Go By, I'm Free, which is a cool song. I like I'm Free. And Get Off of My Cloud is also on here. And
Yeah, that's a
the
great
rest,
song.
yeah. And the rest are going to be covers, which I'm not that familiar with. Rob 66 makes an appearance again. Help is going to have two covers on Help, which is going to be Dissy, Mizzy, Lizzy, and Act Naturally. But it's going to have, of course, Help. Yesterday, I've just seen a face, and also Ticket to Ride, and I Need You by George. So, Rob, what do you think?
Oh, without a question, it's Help. I mean, one of my favorite songs too from the Beatles is Yesterday. Always love that song. What Ticket to Ride, correct?
Yeah.
I Need You. I mean, come on. This one is just, to me, this is like one of their masterpieces. So, yeah. Nothing against the Stones. Not a bad album, but a little too many covers for my taste. So, yeah, we'll go with the Beatles Help.
And that's what's bothering me with the Stones at this point. You're still with the covers. You're already, what, 5, 6 albums deep?
True.
I mean, Jeremy.
Yeah, this may be the tightest matchup for me so far. But man, it's Help. It's a classic album.
Yeah, it really is.
Front to back, even with the two covers.
Yeah, and this is how we started with the Beatles was Help, and A Hard Day's Night.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird that when you listen to these albums, like for the first time, you're like, I've heard these songs before because they've been in our fabric for the longest time. You're like, oh, this is familiar to me. Kate.
You know me, it's got to be Help. Has the most covered song of all time, which is Yesterday. And out of the covers, Act Naturally is like one of my favorite songs ever. Buck Owens. I love all the old country guys. So
the Buckaroos from
Yep, hands down, got to be Help on that one for me.
You know what? I keep on seeing Buck Owen albums, and they're like like $1 or $2.
Check them out
and,
for how cheap it is. It's
and I pick them up, and I've got them in my hand, and then I put them back because I find compilations. I love compilations. I think I gotta lay off the compilations because I don't know how many times I got certain songs on different albums.
Right, it'll be whatever hit, and it's across the board on 4 or 5 albums. Yeah.
So right now, Charlie, are you gonna help me know? Okay, right now we're at 4-1 in favor of the Beatles. Whew. I don't know how this will ever be beat by anybody, really. The Beatles with Rubber Soul from '65 along against the Rolling Stones Aftermath. Aftermath, they really start to write more and more, and it's got Painted Black, Stupid Girl, Lady Jane, Under My Thumb, Flight 505, and Going Home is this bluesy track that's 10 to 11 minutes long. Against Rubber Soul, Nowhere Man, Norwegian Wood, Drive My Car, Girl, In My Life, and If I Needed Someone. That's what we're talking about. This is a really good matchup. This really is. The Stones are starting to get their feet under them a little bit more. Getting a little bit more diverse in their music, and their songwriting are starting to get better. Rob.
Damn it. Sorry. I keep forgetting I muted it, but I don't want to be coughing and sneezing over here, into the mic. So I apologize, but this one was a little tough for me because, Painted Black. I mean, come on. That's one of the most killer songs out there, especially, one of the best Stone songs, like for me,
Yeah, I
and a
love
lot of
that.
people think I'm goofy, but I also like, some other like stuff that's not well known, but Painted Black and this album was really good, but I have to go with the Beatles. I got to go with Rubber Soul. I mean, just by a smidge. But yeah, I'll let you guys commence. But that's my pick. Hopefully next time I'll know to mute or unmute
You
my
be
mic.
queued up. Jeremy?
Not to imply that Rubber Soul is a bad album or a weak album, but it's probably my least favorite Beatles album of this particular era.
Hmm.
But and there are some great tracks on Aftermath, but I mean it's still a solid Beatles album. I mean, good lord. Yeah, I don't know. It's if I have to choose between the two, I'm always going to spin Rubber Soul.
Okay.
Always.
Kate?
Beatles.
Beatles?
You have Michelle and Girl were ones that you didn't mention that I love
Yeah.
too. That's on that, and that's in my top 5 when we did our Beatles show. So
Yeah.
I got to go with it. But you can't go wrong. I mean, Paint It Black.
And
That
Under
is
My Thumb.
killer. Under My Thumb. Like
Yeah.
those are killer tracks, but
Yeah.
it's hard for me to beat Rubber Soul just for all the amount of songs that I love on that album.
Yeah.
So
It's just a complete album. It just
Mhm.
is from
that
beginning
one,
to end.
you don't skip a song on it. I can't think
No.
of one that I would skip.
Yeah.
So
Is this still? No, that's not being seen. So we're 4-1. There we go. All right. Wow. 1966. Revolver. Against this one here, Between the Buttons by the Rolling Stones. I do believe that this is all. Is it this one? Oh wait, which one is it? This one here. This is going to be their first album of all originals. We're talking about Let's Spend the Night Together, Yesterday's Papers, Ruby Tuesday, Who's Been Sleeping Here, Complicated, Amanda Jones, which are all album tracks. Against Revolver, we all know what's on Revolver. I mean, we know Revolver like the back of our hands, pretty much. We don't have to go through those tracks. Rob?
Yeah, this one's easy for me. Let's Spend a Night Together is a great song. And the other rest of the album, it's cool, but there's no way it's touching no way it's touching Revolver. Just too many great, classics for me. So
Right.
yeah, Beatles, yeah.
Jeremy?
Well, Revolver happens to be my personal favorite Beatles record. So there's not many records out there, Stones or otherwise, that are going to touch it in my eyes. So I'm extremely biased. But even still, Revolver.
Of course, yeah. Kate?
same deal. When you start picking up more psychedelic stuff and more of a conceptual albums, definitely.
Yeah, that's
hard to beat.
Yeah, it really is. And the tracks, I mean, just start off with Taxman, Eleanor Rigby, Here, There, Everywhere. It just goes on and on. It just goes on and on. Oh, and interesting thing, I was watching on QUBI, which is a concert channel. They were having the music hairs for Paul McCartney, and they had all these different people performing, and it was interesting. James Taylor and Diana Krall were on stage together, and James Taylor did Yesterday, and Diana Krall did For No One, which was very interesting. It was really neat. Oh, and it was a pretty good performance by Neil Young and Crazy Horse. They did Oh, what did they do? I saw her standing there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they turned it into a 6-minute jam. Of course they did, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
1967. I don't have the cover for this. This is the Rolling Stones, their Satanic Majesty's Requests. I found it for $1 without the cover. So I got it, but it plays beautifully. The vinyl was in perfect condition. So if anyone has the cover, please let me know. And that's going to go up against. I really wish I had that cover because of the colors, but again, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. This one came out a few months afterwards, and that was after what Sgt. Pepper did for the whole landscape of popular music at that time. Rob.
No contest, Sergeant Pepper's. I mean,
Yeah.
they were both going into that direction of psychedelic stuff and what have you, and which is cool. But it's really funny on I always call it the Satanic record, because that damn title's way too long, for the Stones. They have a song on there called 2000 Man, which Ace Frehley, when he was in Kiss on the Dynasty album, redid that. And the Stones version, it's all like hippie-ish and fun times. You listen to the Kiss version, you're just like, that's badass. Always love that, but I just had to say that because it is a song that somebody else covered. So
Yeah.
Tells you somebody loved it and decided to make it its own. But yeah, I got to go Sgt. Pepper's all the way, no doubt.
And Jeremy?
Okay, so Revolver was pretty much the tail end of my favorite Beatles era, and I probably don't love Sgt. Pepper as much as 99% of the population of the world, but it's still a great album. Also, do happen to like this Stones album, but given the choice between the two, it's going to be Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah, but you're right about the Stones album. It's a good album. It's completely different from anything else they did up to that point and since. It's
but I like the sound of it.
Yeah, it's a big fresh breath of air from them.
Yeah, it absolutely was. It absolutely was.
Mm-hmm. And it was so neat because both bands, well, let's not say both bands, in 67, who didn't put their best foot forward? Who didn't break all the rules? I mean, there were no more rules, especially with Pet Sounds and Revolver and Freak Out by Frank Zappa coming out in 66. And, Frank Zappa, his debut album was a double for crying out loud.
Yeah.
That takes guts to do. And it was fantastic. But we should do Frank Zappa one day, but that'll take us a day. Kate, need I ask?
It's sitting behind me.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat. I really do like the psychedelic kind of direction that Stones were going in because it was different for them. I love the song "She's a Rainbow." Fantastic. But of course, this is like one of my favorite albums of all time. So hard to beat. I can't. No contest in my book.
And also, when a big note on the Stones, Brian Jones really was a multi-instrumental genius, especially on this album. Too bad we lost him too soon because who knows what direction, if he would have lived, what he could have guided the Stones into, going into the late 60s and early 70s. But then, when Mick Taylor joined the Stones, that was a big change for me because I like Mick Taylor era Stones. Just grittier. Stay right there. Okay. 1960. We're still in 67. Beatles come out with Magical Mystery Tour. The Stones came out with this one here, Beggar's Banquet. This is going to have Sympathy for the Devil, No Expectations, Street Fighting Man, Stray Cat Blues, and Factory Girl, which are all fantastic songs. And against I'm sorry, Magical Mystery Tour, you got the title cut, you got the Fool on the Hill, you got I Am the Walrus, you got Penny Lane, also Hello Goodbye, Strawberry Fields Forever, and All You Need Is Love. So, that's, man, to be around at this time, to be in your upper teens or just to be a music lover at this time, just exploring music and learning all this stuff, man, would have been great. Rob, Beggar's Banquet or Magical Mystery Tour here?
This was a tough choice
Yeah,
because both albums are definitely amazing. And what it came down to for me is I like weird and I write weird and I listen to a lot of weird stuff. And I think Beatles, started that off for me, besides me getting into later bands like Mr. Bungle and stuff like that. And Ween, I just like that weird collaboration of styles and what have you. So obviously we're going Beatles, Magical Mystery Tour.
yeah. Jeremy?
Listen, if it was Beggar's Banquet against, almost anything else, that might get my vote. But still, you named all the records on all the tracks on Magical Mystery Tour, and they're all solid.
Yeah.
It's got to be Magical Mystery Tour.
Okay. And I'm not trying to be biased. I'm just reading what's on here. I'm not.
Yeah.
That's just the facts of what's on these albums.
Right.
Kate?
Oh, that one's got to go Beatles again. The other one has Sympathy for the Devil, so of course that's great and one of their most iconic songs for the Stones. Yeah. But even just like Flying, the instrumental that's on there on Magical Mystery Tour, like one of my favorite instrumentals out of all of rock. So it's yeah, and it's totally that vibe. Like you close your eyes and you got that vibe. So I just feel like, I had a dog named Penny Lane, so I can't. I got to go with Magical Mystery Tour.
All right. These are out of sorts, but that's okay. We all know who's winning. But still, let's keep on going because there's some interesting battles coming up. There really are. Very interesting battles. I try to put this one against the other Stones double album, but they were three years apart, so it's not really fair. Beatles White Album, which we all know what's on here. I'm not going to go down the list of 30 great tracks. Against Let It Bleed by the Rolling Stones. It's got Let It Bleed, Midnight Rambler, Gimme Shelter, Monkey Man. Monkey! Love that song. That's a great track. And You Can't Always Get What You Want, which is another standout track by the Stones. This is getting into my favorite Stones era. Big time. And it started with Beggar's Banquet for me. And it goes on all the way to Goathead Soup. But we're not talking about that right now. Rob, the White Album,
Like you-
or Let It Bleed?
Like you said about, the monkey song, I always love that song too. I always love that part of Goodfellas, when they're in that drug haze and you're just hearing that going through.
Yeah.
And, that song's been in so many movies, just like a whole bunch of theirs has been. And the White Album, is amazing too, but I'm going Stones on this one. I just like it a touch more. So, yeah, we'll go Stones.
Jeremy?
Yeah, like you said, Andy, this is hitting the Stones. They're hitting their stride, putting out some really good stuff.
Yeah, they are.
But even with the White Album, what you can call filler tracks, it's, as a whole, I'd rather listen to it. But this particular Stones album against almost anything else out there would get my vote, but not in this instance.
No.
No, it's got to
So
go.
are you
Got to
going
go
white?
White Album. White Album. Yep.
All right. Kate, you're the deciding factor. The Stones go up on the pedestal or not. The pressure's on you. Stone fans out there want at least 2.
All right. So it starts off killer because it has Gimme Shelter at the top. The middle's Let It Bleed. The end, you can't always get what you want. So killer album. I can't deny that. But going up against the White Album, which is it's just so hard to compare the two. It's 2 very different albums in my mind.
Oh, yeah, it really is.
And it's like the Beatles start to get super, I don't know what the word I want, with like the way their influence in all the different genres of music that they include in on that.
Yeah.
Like how differentiated that album is for all the tracks. Like it's so hard to beat that. It's always going to be Beatles for me from here on out, I bet.
Okay. So, this is a great rocking album.
It is a killer album.
But this is genre bending.
Exactly. You're comparing, it's like apples and oranges almost in my mind. Like they're both great rock albums, but when you go from like how many different types of music are on White Album, and it's, it's 20 more tracks almost than Let It Bleed. So it's hard to compare the two. Yeah.
I know that it was hard. I was going to put this up against another double live, another double album, but this is the years that they were presented to the listening world. So I know that this is a rocking album, but this has such heavy stuff on it. You got Helter Skelter, Happiness is a Warm Gun, Your Blues. Everybody's got something high except for Me and My Monkey and Sexy Sadie. And so I hate to do that to Let It Bleed because it's fantastic, but
it's a hard choice. I mean, it really is. I mean, I love the White Album. Don't get me wrong, but that, to me, for the Rolling Stones, that was like a bread and butter for me. Even it's close. These last few are not easy. So
these are not going to be easy at all.
It was difficult, but I had to go with that one. Even though I love the White Album, it was just by a smidge.
Yeah, especially if Let It Bleed was like one of your go-tos in like a certain period in your life or something like that. Or if you just don't have the time to listen to the White Album.
All right.
Oh, I've listened to the White Album a million times. I used to fall asleep to it, but it's one of those that you just like put on the headphones and drift away, and just enjoy the ride.
We have a radio station here in Houston who used to play it on New Year's Day. They would play from beginning to end, and they stopped doing that. But I still listen to the White Album every New Year's Day.
That's cool.
Yeah. 1969. That's going to bring us Abbey Road. Sticky Fingers. Sticky Fingers is going to have. Oh, it's not written on here. I think Bitch is on here. Brown Sugar. No, it's not. Brown Sugar is on here. Hold on. Let me read out the track. It's only fair.
Yeah, Brown Sugar's on there.
Oh, Andy Warhol, you're so nasty.
Do you have the zipper on that one?
Yeah, but the zipper's broken, isn't that what I want to hear?
I found one.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go figure.
I found one a few months ago that it was like the album cover was in good shape, but the vinyl was destroyed and the zipper worked. It's like, give it to somebody to make a nice complete piece for themselves if they had a busted one. So I gave it away.
So this is going to have Brown Sugar. It's going to have Brown Sugar, Sway, Wild Horses. Can't You Hear Me Knocking? Ooh, that's a jam, isn't it? You Got to Move. Side 2 is going to have Bitch. Sister Morphine, Dead Flowers. I love Dead Flowers. That's one of my favorite tracks by them. And Moonlight Mile is also on here. Against Abbey Road. Come together. Something. Octopus's Garden. I Want You. She's So Heavy. um, Oh Darling, and then of course we got Here Comes the Sun, and then of course the majestic side too that goes with Because, and then You Never Give Me Your Money, onto Sun King, Paul King Pan, Mean Mr. Buster. She came in through the bathroom window, Golden Slumbers, You Gotta Carry That Weight, The End, Her Majesty. I mean, almost 23 minutes of just majestic music, just flowing into each other, different types of music. There's no break, just straight to it. So which one is it? Rob, Abbey Road, Sticky Fingers.
Okay, I was punching myself in the face earlier on this one because they're both so very, very good. So can I do something that's a little bit off the beaten path here?
Sure.
Can I call for a tie? Because I love them both so much. I mean, it was just so hard to pick. They, both have so many great songs, and I literally was. I was like, I'm gonna punch myself in the face if I can't figure this out, and I just could not. I'm like, I could not pick one. So can I literally say it's a tie? These are two masterpieces, in my opinion. Because on the Beatles, you have my favorite all-time song, Something. And then on the Rolling Stones, even though the song is now canceled, Brown Sugar. And I just, oh man, and the rest of the songs, it was just too it was too close to call, let's say. The Chads weren't picked correctly during the election. So I have to go with the tie.
And it's like 50 years later, they're like, you know what? That song, Brown Sugar, yeah. After 50 years later, after it being played on the radio like thousands and thousands of times, you know what? That doesn't fit our culture anymore. It's a great jam. It's a great jam. And what else is music but to break barriers or to tell stories, and and unfortunately it's happening to stand-up comedians, and to everything else that we find entertainment. It's not like we take these things literally. And Jeremy, we got one for the Stones and one for the Beatles so far.
Yeah, I'm agree with Rob in spirit. There's should be a tie, a toss up, but that medley on side two, it never gets old, and I would never not want to hear it. Uh, yeah, got to go with the Beatles on this one. Ultimately,
Kate,
it's Abbey Road, of course, because it's my second favorite, and the Sweet is hard to beat. I agree. I do have to give a lot of credit to Wild Horses. I love their version. It's awesome. I love Dead Flowers. Great. But definitely it's just so hard to beat Abbey Road. I mean, you open strong, come together, your middle's great, you flip, it's the Sweets on side two. It's just, I can't beat it.
And I told you, for me, it's just so difficult. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because these are their, like, to me, they're classics. And like
great.
I said, I was like sweating trying to figure out which one I really wanted. So I'm like, I'm just gonna say a tie. So Beatles are gonna win this thing anyways. But
right. but how iconic are both album covers?
Oh, amazing!
Big time.
Well, of course, one's more iconic than the other, of course, but they're both iconic in their own way. But
them achieving that cover on that with the zipper and everything, and then like having Andy Warhol, which at the time, you think about how big of an artist he was to do an album cover for someone.
Yeah,
pretty big deal. Because I'm trying to think like who else is it that's like what's the banana one? I cannot. My brain isn't
That Lou
working.
Reed record,
Yes, Lou
Velvet
Reed.
Underground.
So yeah, Velvet Underground.
Velvet
So,
Underground.
like he did how many other album covers? So it's pretty amazing that he did that for them.
Yeah. So that's going to be our last one. One was released in 1970. The other one was released in 71, where the Beatles had already broken up. But I have to include these two. Let It Be against Exile on Main Street, the double album by the Rolling Stones. This double album, not as adventurous as the White Album. It's not, but it's a good rock and blues album where Mick Taylor again opens up a can of whoop ass on this album and kind of takes off on his own little trippy guitar playing on here, and everyone else goes for the ride on this one against the Beatles' Let It Be, The Long and Winding Road, the title track. A lot of good stuff on here, but we know what's on Let It Be, but let's go through the tracks for this one here. Sometimes I forget everything that's on here. Let me see here. Okay, perfect. Happy. Ventilator Blues is a good track. Shine a Light is also good. Sweet Virginia, Torn and Frayed, Tumbling Dice, and Rock Off, and Rip This Joint. So this is one of their most complete albums. They're not just called the Rolling Singles anymore. They're now making albums. So we call them Rolling Stones at this point. So so what you got, Rob, on our last one?
Well, it should come to no surprise. It's going to be Let It Be. I mean, it's another favorite album of mine, so I'm just going to keep it short and sweet because we're doing really good on time here. We're at the 47 mark, not the 2 hour and 36 mark, so we're doing good. So yeah, I'll go with Let It Be as my final answer.
Jeremy, final answer.
I'm actually going to go with Exile on this one.
Exile Main Street on this one.
Nice. He picks the Stones.
Yeah, for me, it's a solid album.
Yeah,
I love it. This particular Beatles album is not my favorite, but it's still a great album. This one could have been a toss-up, but I think the Stones had a lot more edge.
Yeah, on this one I would have gone Exile on this one myself.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a fantastic album. Kate?
I feel like this is similar to comparing on the last one we did Sticky versus White Album, that's probably the better of the two for the Stones album, but for me, I obviously am going to go with the Beatles as always. This one isn't actually that high in my list of Beatles albums, but Across the Universe and Get Back, I mean, those are just such huge hits. And I was trying to look through the Stones one, and I was like, I can't think. That's another one where like not a single song with all the lyrics just pops in my head when I read the title.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's hard, Get Back, Let It Be, and Across the Universe are just such big hits on that, even though that's not my top favorite Beatles albums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen out there, here on Black Spinner page, we have finally answered the age-old question: who is the better band, the Beatles or the Stones? We dissected all the albums that they released while the Beatles were still making records, and we compared them. And the clear favorite was the Beatles. So there is your answer. There's going to be no more debate. We have squashed the debate. It's been around since the mid-'60s. So any final words before we hit the road, guys? Thank you so much for participating and taking the time to spend this moment, to spend this hour together, just talking music, just stepping outside of work and school and everything
good
else we
time.
got going on to talk about music for a little bit. Hey, Rob, you got a lot of things going on at the Rob Rock and Roll podcast. Tell us what's coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, we got a lot going on. This Thursday, Jeremy, you're more than welcome to join if you like. We're going to rank the 9 studio albums of Motley Crue, going from your least favorite to your favorite. And then we also have Dawn of the Rising showing up real soon, which Kate will be a part of. And we're going to rank the Judas Priest albums. So we got that one going on. And then I might be missing one. I apologize. But then I have my buddy. He's in a Kiss, tribute band. Pretty popular one out in California. And they travel to the United States. They're called Gods of Thunder. His name is Paul Dellis. We're going to discuss Destroyer through Kiss Alive 2, the studio album, only from Alive 2. So we're going to discuss that. And if I forgot another one, I apologize. But this is all coming off the top of my head. But yeah, we're pretty book solid. And then I have Andy, getting ready to fill up the rest if he can, for the rest of February and March. So I can have a break from talking to everybody, Like I said, it's difficult to do this stuff sometimes. It takes a lot of, mind power and, getting out in there, getting out there doing things. And then you got a family, and everything else. It's like, shit, there's not enough time, but I powered through it yesterday. It was just like getting hold of people like, hey, I'm trying to get this going. And also Al Horta will be joining us for these shows as well.
And the one that you missed, Rob, we are going to be comparing on the Rock and Roll podcast. We're going to be comparing Use Your Illusion 1 and Use Your Illusion 2.
Thank you. That was the one I forgot. Yep, that was the one I forgot. That's going to be actually the following week. See, I told you. Yeah. Brain's not working correctly. So yeah, we're gonna do that. We're just gonna kind of like compare Illusion 1 and Illusion 2 and see who kind of battles that one out. Yeah.
And over on Black Spinner channel here, next Tuesday or Wednesday, it's Tuesday, I believe, or Wednesday. I'll figure out. We're gonna be doing the best of 1969. Which Jeremy and Rob are going to be a part of. We're going to do our top 10 for that year. Kate, you're more than welcome to if you want to join in on that. And also, we're going to be doing Neil Young albums from the 1970s on February the 1st.
Nice.
And we're going to be doing Neil Young in the 90s in March. So that's coming up too. I skipped the 80s, as you can tell.
Too experimental for you?
Yeah. Huh?
Gets a little weird, yeah.
Yeah, it gets a little weird. It's not good. It's not good. Yeah, we got a lot of things going on. Me and Rob and Jeremy and Kate and Al and a whole crew that's starting to just come along with us for the ride. It's wonderful. And I'm glad that everyone's able to watch us while we do this. And of course, all of our panelists that are able to join us, it's always appreciated. Any final thoughts, Jeremy? Yeah, I'm sorry, Rob. Jeremy?
I was going to say, it was nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what's really crazy is this whole podcasting community and everybody just meeting. And it's like, we become friends and like a family just like that. Mm-hmm. And it's just like I was even telling my own friends, like, these people are more friends than you guys are anymore. I'm like, where the hell you been? And then, I get it. Life happens. But, it's been a lot of fun doing this, meeting a lot of different podcasts. The views have been like insane. I can't believe, I started this, a year and like a couple of weeks ago. And I had another buddy that was a co-host, and we did it for a while, and we were doing really well. Then we took a break, and then he had to move on, do his own thing, you know, in life. It's amazing that we've almost surpassed 4,000 views on Facebook videos. That is insane to me. And I say thanks to all the different podcasts out there like Decibel Geek, and then you know, there's just so many of them. I can't mention them right now, but I will on my Thursday show give them a little shout out. But I've had a good time doing these things with you guys. It's a pleasure meeting you, and you know, let's just keep it going and have fun. You know, that's what it's about. Music is about connecting, having fun, and you know, shooting the shit.
Yeah,
So I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, like I work today. I told people at work, I don't need y'all. I've got my panelists.
There you go. There you go.
I don't need any of y'all. Leave me alone. No. But thanks a lot, guys, and thank you everyone out there for watching. And please comment and let us know how we're doing. And we'll see you all quite a bit in the near future. We got a lot of topics coming up, like the ones we just went through. And let's all say hi to Al, who was able to join us today, but he'll be here with us on Thursday. So hello, Al, and also RC is going to also be with us on Thursday.
That's
and
right,
anyone else that wants to join us for Motley Crue, you're more than welcome. Like Rob said, we're going to be ranking them. And that's about it, guys. Y'all take care of each other and rock on out there. Goodbye.
Later.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.